There are instances where the question is, can I make money out of this? Who are my customers? Or how come I'm working more now than I ever did before? Individuals that want to start their own business, the ones that I feel are a little bit more successful than others, show one quality that you just really can't duplicate. You just have it in you, in my opinion. You're self-autonomous. I'm Jose Luis Otero, and this is my advice. As I graduated high school from San Diego, I moved on to Santa Cruz, California, and I will share this that as I have with everybody else. I chose my college based on the amount of surf that I could get. I love surfing. I love the water. It is my peace time, right? And so going to school and graduating with a business economics, business management major, I was able to dive into Silicone Valley shortly after graduation, working for a major corporation and doing the investment portfolio management, asset management allocation, and doing some investment recommendations. Shortly after that, I realized the power of money and what it could do. About 3 years later, I ended up working at a nonprofit, very opposite of what I was doing. And I was able to apply a lot of the investment strategy or analysis views for this nonprofit and being able to distribute community service grants throughout the region. From there, I jumped over and have worked in financial services, whether it's collections, mortgages, software solutions, etc. Always around financial analysis, some sort of strategic advising role that I've put myself in over a period of time by not thinking like everybody else. So I would say that my real business acumen or coaching really started with a company out of San Diego. It's called Actual Intelligence Technologies, where we developed software that was used with optimal character recognition. So basically, long story short, you scan a document, a financial statement, and I can tell you everything that's on it within a matter of seconds. But what happens when you have a warehouse full of bankers' boxes that the FBI or the IRS needs to reconcile in order to catch the bad guy, right? Where's the money going and coming from? So my real strategic seed, I would say, was planted there, where we have some technologies that we're using, but how do we use them to better the company while we better for the good of the agency's goals? So strategically, we had to build a technology that it was good enough to use, but it wasn't the best version that we could build. And we didn't deploy that immediately on purpose. Similar now, if you take it back for iPhones. What if we had an iPhone 13 delivered to us today as iPhone 1? Would we know what to do with it? What are apps? What are all these different things and all those systems that support the phone in it itself? So through this startup, understanding the strategy behind getting product or service into the market really allowed for me to hone in an even more complicated scenario, working with the federal government. It is not always easy. It is a very difficult hill to climb, and it can be very rewarding when you get to the top. So understanding procurement and government contracting, as well as the psychology behind the product, right? Again, is it too early, too soon, not enough? And how will people react to it? From there, I continued working other programs. I would say the longest job I ever held overall is about 4.5 years. In the last 25 years of the workforce. Again, that doesn't look good on a resume, but there's a purpose behind that. I wouldn't be able to be a business coach today in a number of industries if I had not experienced all those industries myself firsthand at different levels. whether it was the dishwasher all the way to leading a team as a district director for a member of Congress. So as a strategic advisor, entrepreneur, coach, I've gone through different levels of heartaches. That's why I wore long sleeves today, so I wouldn't show my battle scars. Plenty of scars to show the trials and tribulations of entrepreneurship. Over the last few years, I've been working as a portfolio manager, now in capital investment, in investing dollars into people through Penn State University. I work for Penn State University, specifically under the Department of Research, under a program called the Ben Franklin Technology Partners of Central North Pennsylvania. So I have the opportunity to see a number of deals with my colleagues that can change essentially the way that people live. These are not solutions or problems that are small time. We look for scalable and impactful solutions to problems that can impact, of course, our everyday life here locally, but more importantly, nationally or globally. So we look for early ideas and how do we move them through all the way to possible acquisition, the sale of the business, right? The full cycle of the business. Being around different investors is a result of being with Ben Franklin. So working with other investment groups, other angel groups, other venture capitalists throughout the country, and seeing what other deal flows are essentially happening in California, where I graduated from college right out of Silicone Valley. I'm still right back in there. It's a full cycle for me to be able to have gone through this whole journey in order to be able to then coach in the other way, understanding the financials, though, essentially. I still adore the individuals that are local because they're also impactful. On a number of occasions, I have the opportunity to work with other coaches in scaling a smaller business, local business, a dog grooming shop, or I don't know, tattoo parlor, whatever it may be, a flower shop, etc. But these are impactful towards the individual, right? And towards the community that they live in. And I say adore specifically because my heart really sits locally with the local people in my local environment where I'm at, as much as I like to work on impactful national programs or global solutions. Being part of my community where I live and where I rest my head is also very important. If my local community is flourishing, fantastic. And so I still work with, on a free basis, really, volunteer my time with local entrepreneurs, specifically on the strategy. Where are you at today? Where would you like to be tomorrow? But more importantly, where have you been, right? And being able to piece and thread those things together for an individual and to help them understand where they're really at and where they can be. For any small business, you need to think about a number of things. And so I would say the first thing that you need to do is write things down. As a small business, you need to understand what you're getting yourself into. And by doing so, there's an easy way that I've been able to work with businesses, and by using the business model canvas. It is a 9-grid canvas that allows for an individual to see how the different parts of the business function. And I always ask this question to any small business. Can you make a better hamburger than the local food chain, such as McDonald's, for example? They're like, well, of course I can make a better hamburger. Fantastic. Can you sell more than 1 million hamburgers than they did last week? And you're like, well, I can't do that. Well, but you have the best burger. It tastes better, so why can't you? Well, I don't have the resources. I don't have the money. Is it that you don't have the money or you don't have the system that's built around that hamburger? Where does the meat come from? Where does the buns come from? Where does the ketchup come from? Where does the pickles come from, right? The system of the business model canvas allows for you to understand that as a small business. One of the main focal points of the business model canvas is the value proposition. What is it that you're offering that your customers can benefit from, that they're going to buy your product and that like your product? To essentially build a strategy of get, keep, grow. So through the business model canvas, a small business is able to dive into understanding who their customer is. So the first piece of advice is, let's take a look at the business model canvas in general as an introductory lesson. From there would come an assignment of customer discovery. You're going to ask a lot of questions without selling anything first. You're not going to ask one family member. Stop asking your family. Your family members will tell you it's always great. They have to. They're kind of obligated to in a certain way. And more than likely, they might not always be your customer. However, though, family can become investors. So on a number of occasions, whenever small businesses have their customer discovery platform, they're asking a lot of different questions. As we go through the business model canvas, right, based on those questions, what is it that they need to find out for a flower shop? Where are they going to get their flowers? Where are they going to get the vases? Where are they going to get their ribbons? Who is their supply chain? Who can become a key partner for this flower shop? What is a partnership? Does a partnership mean that we need to exchange money? Or is a partnership something that is going to benefit us both? Understanding those partnerships along with your key resources and with your sales channels, right? For a flower shop, what could be a really good sales channels? Who predominantly buys flowers year round? Unfortunately, funeral homes. There's that transition, and then you have seasonal, right? So you have to understand your sales channel. Who is it that you can sell to that's going to sell your product for you? For example, what would you rather deal with? Sell one bouquet to one person or sell 30 bouquets to one person that's going to sell those for you? I'd rather deal with one person and still gain a profit. It makes things a little bit less messier. So to a small business, customer discovery is key at first. Key to it. And understanding the business model canvas that they can form around that idea or product and how long it's going to take. All the other things get teased out. How much money it's going to take in order to execute this. Who is the team that needs to be involved in order to do this? When can we hire? When can we fire? What are the rules that are getting in the way? Do we need to pull special permits, or are there federal or national or global regulations that prohibit me from doing this? And if I do, what is the consequence of it? So the business model canvas through customer discovery is key to any small business or any business really, including large organizations. For example, GE, General Electric, recently announced in 21, they're splitting the company into three ways. One is going to be focused on air, the other one, air meaning flight, and energy, as well as healthcare. In between those three companies now that GE has become, they have what are called incubation programs now. So working with small businesses, working with individuals, working with tinkers, with scientists, right, that are in our local community, and being able to use their ideas into product development that is impacting the world. GE is a pretty big company. A small business needs to understand who they're serving, if they ever want to grow or even become part of a much larger incubation center, right, based on what it is that they're providing. There are a number of occasions when companies fail or get put on the shelf and then come back. I would say that the individual didn't fully understand their own bandwidth. Two, they weren't able to grow or get there as quickly as they had expected. So they weren't able to manage their own expectations. Three, they didn't really grow their resource network by asking a lot of questions. Entrepreneurs that ask a lot of questions get a lot of answers. That's kind of what cause and effect, right? The other thing that I would say, it's mismanaging of money. A number of small businesses mismanage their money when they first start. They feel that this is more important to get than this, or this takes precedence over that. So mismanagement of money, I would say, would be one of those things. And when you first start out through customer discovery, one of the things that we do is a startup cost sheet. What's it all going to take to start this today? How am I going to recoup those over a period of time? And I would say another piece, last piece that I would mention for fail, it's they tried to get an industry they really had no knowledge about, or grab the right people to be able to execute the mission. They just felt it was a good idea. You have to stay with it if you want to be successful. Having a business coach is important, yes. At different points, though. It's not always good, though, to have a business coach, because who's really running the business? Self-autonomous, again, right? So it's one of those check-in, check-out points where business coaches can provide advice and give you ideas and network. Essentially, really, it's one key thing here that I want to mention after this other point. But with a business coach, you're held accountable. When you are your own individual and you own your own business, who's holding you accountable? Well, when you don't pay the gas and the electricity bill, you're going to be held accountable by the lights getting shut off, right? But how are you held accountable day to day to get to sales? Who's holding somebody accountable? Well, when you have a business coach, what did you do last week? Okay. Did you do what we talked about? Yes, no, maybe, what the heck? What happened? Wow, I'm glad you did. Well, I'm glad you didn't, right? There's different reasons. Accountability is really part of the coaching or the advisory role into the strategy that they're trying to do. With that, as part of the business coach, it's the network that the coach is involved in. I would say it's what really allows for companies to catapult themselves. For example, there are a number of areas in this country that offer incubation spaces, right, where a company can go and work on their company. But is it really an incubation space, or is it a open work center, or is it really just a drop-in like place that you can go work? Who are the entrepreneurs and residents that are guiding those individuals is important, but who they can connect them to is critical here. Having a coach that has an expansive network within the area that you're looking to be in is critical right there. Absolutely. As a business coach, advisor, no say, whatever role, leadership role you give, I know that working in different industries has expanded my network, where some individuals are great business coaches, but within this industry. And that's great. That's fine. Find that coach, right? But if you're looking for a variety of industries, there's not too many people that can really point to a network of individuals that can then leapfrog the idea by either investment and capital, or by having a key partnership, or by making an introduction, or by calling the ex-president of Intuit. Why would you call him? Are you kidding? Why would we not? It's all fintech. Why would we not, right? Just West Virginian individual, not very far from here. Or other high-level profile CEOs that are tied to other coaches. It really helps catapult those ideas beyond what the coach can offer and what the individual can offer. I can't stress enough the network. The network. Who the coach is tied to is very important. So not all coaches are the same. Here in the Southern Alleghenies region, there's a program called the Startup Alleghenies. This is a multi-county initiative that is federally funded by the Appalachian Regional Commission. Well, the Appalachian Regional Commission is highly interested in entrepreneurship and in energy and other services that run across the Appalachia, multiple states. So this region here in the Southern Alleghenies does have a free service for entrepreneurs that they can enroll. They have an entrepreneur coach. The entrepreneur coach then works with an individual and helps them navigate throughout the ecosystem, right? What do you need? Do you need help with hiring? Do you need a business plan? Do you need money? Do you need parts? Do you need screws? What do you need to make your business, connect well? There are tax dollar programs that allow for business coaches to exist. As a business coach myself, I've been able to be a part of all the different phases of a company. Whether it's at a barbecue and we're talking about an idea and bringing it all the way to product and into market, into service, to working with an individual that's 85 years old, and this is now their third time ownership because it's been passed down, so through a legacy business. I work with all. Where do I best fit, though, is when the strategic building piece is happening. Whether we have a large budget or we have $0, I best come into the strategy. So I come in and out of the life cycle, typically, of a business. On a number of occasions, I've heard at least from 5 people, I should have talked to you much sooner. And that, whenever I do hear that, I know that as a coach, I need to understand the individual and how time conscious are you? Because again, everybody in this world is equal in one thing. We all share the same amount of time. So how well can you manage your time and expectation of revenues? Right? So that's kind of a little alarm for me whenever I hear that. I'm like, okay, are you in a dire situation? Or are you in a growing situation? Where are you at with that? Typically, though, there's a lot of failure that has come along the way. And so whenever I do hear that as well, they failed. And it's not that I have the solution and that I may have the resolve, but I'm able to let them see their own answer by peeling away those layers and really unveiling what it is that they've known the whole time. Acceptance, essentially, many people say you gotta have grit, you gotta have positive enthusiasm. Got it, yeah, for sure. Mark it all there. But you have to be self-autonomous. You have to just move. Put one foot in front of the other yourself. You push yourself. You are your 1, 2, 3, go person. And when I say that, we all need a 1, 2, 3, go guy. Meaning, you're skydiving and you're like 1, 2, 3. You're like, no! You always need a 1, 2, 3, go person in your life. You have to be that for yourself when you're an entrepreneur.